Hi guys, Hengist here from Military Wargaming. This is just a quick channel update because a lot's been going on in the background, so to speak. We've just moved home, an enormous undertaking. Finally got to Sandwich, which is located for our overseas viewers in Kent. It's a very important port. It was a sink port, as they called it. Huge numbers back in the medieval time, rivaling that of London. And it's an absolutely amazing place. So I'm finally here, and that means that it's taking a bit of time, obviously, to get reorganized. But here's what's going on, and I can explain this in a number of things. The first thing is I'm also due to retire very shortly. I've taken the decision to go early, as they say. It may not be as much money per se, but I'm hoping that that will give way to a bit more longevity. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do it. So I've got a lot of things that I want to accomplish over the next few years. And now I've got to the house, the next thing is obviously setting up the war room. So I'm moving general headquarters forwards, and I've got a sort of garage which I'm going to do a conversion job. I've probably got about 2 ton worth of gear, so I've got to shift that down to a shed, and then obviously board out and sort of make the room good, because I don't really want to go with a table or kitchen table sort of setup and try and knock out a few games, because it will just become really messy. And we've just taken an enormous number of weeks to try and get ourselves settled and organised, and I don't want bits and pieces just being lost. So I'd rather do sort of a clean slate, tabula rasa, and get it sorted. So I'm in an operational pause, so I'm going to regroup and reorganise. And this sort of coincides, as I said, with my retirement after 14 years teaching special needs. Can be a tad challenging, to say the least, but now I'm at where I want to do. So what's next? Well, bottom line, and very shortly, is after I've sort of settled, and hopefully in the new year we'll have the war room up and running and we'll be producing the videos again. I'm going to try and finish French Somaliland over the next year or so. I don't really care how long it takes. As a friend of mine always says, you're in a marathon, not a sprint. And I think that's critical to think. It takes time to deliver what we're trying to do. It's really important for legacy, and it's really important also to showcase, you know, a sort of freedom of action, sort of decision-making, wargaming, and I want to keep that narrative and letting the players do what they really want to do, and meet their strategic and operational aims. So that's what's going to happen. Thereafter that, the plan is really, I'm also going to try and set up a Sandwich Wargaming Club, because I don't believe there's a local club. So if you're in the area around sort of Sandwich, Deal, Thanet, Canterbury, really welcome meeting some new people and collectively sort of coming together to try and get some more wargaming done locally. So just PM me below if you've got the chance. And then also, I also, without stepping on any toes, I don't believe there's a Sandwich Archaeological Society, but that's something I'm very interested, because this city is medieval and it goes back earlier than that. And I'm going to have to look at non-intrusive sort of methods. That might be standing building surveys, internal surveys, recording it, mapping, all of that. But that's a long-term project in my retirement. And of course, I'm going to travel with the Mem Saab. As you can probably see back there, she is illuminated there, ever watching over my presence, making it very clear that she's got about 85 tasks for me to do, whilst, as she said, I'm sitting on my arse. But as we all know, I'm not a man who sits on his arse, and so I'm going to be very busy from all ends. I want to thank everyone, notably my players. You're very worried when you take an operational pause in a campaign, because it can just sort of fizzle out. But my guys have been fantastic. They all know that we're just plodding along, trying to come up with ideas, deliver a great outcome for our viewers, and of course to try and make our contribution to wargaming and the reinvigoration of it. I don't want to get into too much, but I'm also hoping that I'm going to get some sort of discussion videos up here with some friends, several who've served at quite high levels in the military, with their views not only of contemporary wargaming, but their experiences within the military, and look at what we can do to really revitalise wargaming. Because I, on a personal level, and feel free to shoot me down on this, I find it's becoming a bit stale. I don't like what prescriptive wargaming is doing to creative wargaming. And by that I mean, if you're buying it off the shelf and you're just knocking something out, following very prescriptive rules, tournaments, things like that, that has its place and that's great. But is it really creating, you know, conceptualized wargamers to really sort of develop and create more critical thinking, and I think more importantly, challenging wargames? I'm a guy that now wants to do more challenging things. I'm not worried about, you know, whether or not I'm rolling sixes or ones. I'm more, you know, concerned with the fact, have I thought this through? What's the sort of planning like? And we'll get into all of that coming up. So obviously a lot going on. I've got to bring headquarters forwards. I've got to try and set up 2 sort of societies that I want to do in the long term. And of course I want to sort of start delivering a little bit more highbrow, some sort of videos as well. And of course keep French Somaliland going. The longer term aspiration, I've made my final decision, is North Africa until I drop. It's going to take years to do this, but both Sam and I, Sam is our umpire, as he said, he's been doing this now 3 or 4 years, and if you speak to anyone in the military, it's 8 years before you could really call yourself a first-rate umpire, and Sam's developing into that. We're all learning, we're all developing, but you know, it's critical that you've got an umpire in war games. And so Sam and I really want to do North Africa, and we want to do it justice. We've got the tools, we've got the capability, we've got the motivation, and we've got the team to do it. So let's go large or go home, as they say. So that's going to be the plan, right the way through from, you know, the Italians all the way through, hopefully. And if we can get that far, and it's really, I want to do a lot around the Med, you know, up to Operation Torch, Husky. Maybe we can get beyond. But we're going to stay in theatre. I'm not going to deviate off to Russia as much as people want it to. I will showcase Russian games, and I will showcase some late war, but everyone's doing late war. It's being done to death, and really I want to show the early war, and of course showcase what sort of wargaming ideas we have. And as we've already proven within this series, there's shed loads you can do in one theatre, and this is another critical component of us sort of saying, let's stick to one thing and do it really well. So sticking to one thing, and before I get called by my wife onto parade to do a number of other enormous tasks, I've got just to say that, you know, obviously I'm going into retirement. I'm going to focus on health and fitness for long being. I've got the dog to walk, and I've got these 2 groups to set up, plus boarding out the shed. And so please bear with me as I sort of readjust to a different way of life. I wish all my viewers, all the guys and girls that comment, and all the support as well as a huge thanks to my players, and obviously to the Military Wargaming Steering Group for everything they're doing. I'll catch up soon. It's all my best wishes. Over and out. Bye for now. Stay lucky, guys.